Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our second of our series of Capture Connect. As a reminder, this is our client-only webinar where we're going to be covering updates to our products, different tips and tricks that we have for how you can better utilize your partnership with Capture, and also introducing you to some sneak peeks behind the scenes of things that we're working on. I am your host today. I'm Lauren Gold, the Director of Account Management, and joining me today is Rajiv Arora, who is our Chief Product Officer. And we are very excited because today we get to come and share to you the vision for the future and what we're working on at Capture to introduce to you all over the next several months. So we have, from the last time that we met until now, we've had so many different things that we have turned on and so many new feature enhancements. Rajiv's going to go through all of those with you, and he's going to talk about things that are coming down the pipeline. The big thing that I want you all to know is today's all about you. So if you have questions, if he's talking about a product release and you think that sounds really cool, but I have questions, please post those into the chat line, and we'll be asking those questions of Rajiv as we go through here. Anything at all. If you want to know how to use it, when it's going to launch, if your contract includes it, whatever questions they are, if it's not for the group, I'll make sure to follow up with you afterwards. But we want to make sure that everybody who attends gets something very personalized out of this experience. So Rajiv, thank you for joining me today.
You are very welcome, Lauren. Thank you for inviting me. This should be fun.
Absolutely. So I hear you have like the top 4 things that your team has worked on over the past month to showcase to us today.
Absolutely. So I think this is kind of the agenda piece that we're going to go through. But I do like Lauren's idea of, make sure that you type in something in the questions thing. So even if you just want to say hello, because I can see the questions, and if you want to just say hello or you want to ask a question, please type something in. That way I know who all is actually paying attention to me. You can type in the weather from wherever it is that you're coming into the questions if you'd like to do that. But then I know that people are listening and we can be interactive. So you want me to get going on the top 4, Lauren, or?
Let's go for it.
Sounds good. All right. So still waiting for your questions, but I'll get started. So one of the really big enhancements that we've recently made is the dynamic progressive identification forms. So as you know, progressive identification forms, this is one of the secret sauces of Capture. And this is the way as student prospects come to your website, we're able to see their behavior, and then we're able to pop up the right kind of form. If they're an athlete, we'll pop up a form about athletes. If they're a business student, we can pop up forms about business student, whatever the case might be, right? And so that functionality has always been there. What we've now done is we've basically taken that functionality and just turbocharged it with a bunch of additional features. And I'll show you examples of some of those. I'll start out with the very first one, which is dynamic questions. Imagine that, when the form first pops up, you want it to be looking pretty simple. You want it to just have a few questions in there. And if they answer a certain question one way, then you can go ahead and ask more questions. And I think I have an example of that one, which is here. So if you take a look at this one, we want to make this as simple as possible. So first name, last name, what's your email? Tell us a little bit about which major, field of study. And the question first says, can we text you? And if they go ahead and select yes, on yes, they're okay with us texting them, then we pop up the field that says, what's your cell phone number? So this question wasn't there earlier. So the form looked nice and simple and small. But if they say yes, then we can go ahead and pop up that particular question, and people can go ahead and fill that out. So that's kind of the dynamic questions part. Hopefully that made sense. And again, if you have questions about that, let me know. The second one is intelligent answers. So again, this is basically dependent again. So let's, for example, in the previous example that I was showing you, it had, fields of study and then majors. So fields of study might be business or nursing, for example. What you want to do, if they select business and then you have the next question, which major, you only want to show them applicable majors, which are business majors. You don't need to show them nursing majors, obviously. And if they select nursing, show them only nursing majors and no need to show them business ones. So the answer list for the major is intelligent, depending upon how it is that they answered the question before. The answer list for the next question can change, and this can go and cascade all throughout the form. So between dynamic questions and intelligent answers, you can make forms just amazingly tailored to the people who are actually looking at them. The next thing that we've done is pre-filling information you've already provided. So when the first time you're identifying something, obviously you want them to go ahead and fill out their first name, last name, all the things that I showed you earlier. But let's assume, now you already know this. Maybe you've even gotten them to the place where, now you're asking them a question about, are you ready to deposit or not? Well, there's no reason to make them fill out their first name and last name and email and all of that. Again, when the main question you want to ask is, are you ready to deposit or not? So even if the form actually shows those questions, we can pre-fill those answers. So those answers are all pre-filled, and the only question that they now really need to answer is, are you ready to deposit or not? And just select the yes or no. So pre-filling makes it, again, far easier for people to go ahead and submit a form, makes it, no effort on their part. That's exactly what progressive identification is supposed to be doing. So that's what we're making sure that you guys can do now. And then this last one is intelligent post-submission thank you and redirects. So obviously, after somebody fills out a form, you want them to take them to the next step of their journey. What is the next step that this person should be taking? Today, the form basically says, thank you for submitting the form. Great. An easy customization is you can at least go ahead and customize the message that pops up to saying, something like, thank you for submitting the information form for the business school at your college name. So that's an easy kind of a customization. But then you can go ahead and go, even better. Just like the dependent fields, the thank you page can actually be customized based on the answers that they gave. So if the answer they gave was, I'm interested in business, what you might want to do is go ahead and say, thank you for applying. And here is an embedded video that you may want to watch to go ahead and learn more about our business school, or take a virtual tour of our business school and things like that. So that's what, something like this would look like. So thank you for submission, learn more about our science programs here. This is a link that they can go ahead and go to the next place. And if you wanted to go ahead and embed a video, you could go ahead and embed a video and people could actually play the video. So with these 4 enhancements, I really think, our PID forms can accomplish almost any scenario that you can imagine, for forms on your website. And of course, all of that information is coming in and can be synced back up to your CRM, and your messages can be so much more tailored for folks. So hopefully all of that made sense. As far as I know, there are no questions yet. Lauren, did you want to say something?
I do, yeah. These intelligent post-submission forms are, they're a big favorite amongst my team since we learned about them, because there's so many things. It's like almost like a mini landing page based on the answer to the to the PID form. So, we were talking just this week about uses for it. And, if we're doing a survey and the student says, I've already applied or I'm planning to apply, you can have different customized videos. You can have mascot dancing videos, messages from the president, messages from the vice president, whoever it may be. If they say they're interested in athletics, we can direct them to the athletics page. There's just like a very limitless kind of feeling to these forms. And what we can do with them. One great use that we talked about this week too was the ability to link them directly to calendars. So maybe we use a Calendly link, we use another custom calendar link because we know their address. We know who their admissions counselor would be typically based on territories, and we can do some really fun things with Calendly links within those too. So we are very excited to get some of those up and launched with our clients over the next couple of weeks.
Great ideas. Great ideas. Okay, so that's one of the top four. Let me go to the second one. This second one is, we talk about our platform as the behavioral intelligence platform, and obviously we want to tailor the journey for your student prospects based on their behavior. One of the things that you really want to do is go ahead and identify them as quickly as possible. And you want to be able to go ahead and do that not just based on the forms, as we just saw earlier. We can also do them through emails that we send out, and engage enabled links that you go ahead and put in those emails. In the last little while, we've actually added a lot of third-party vendor partnerships in order for you to be able to go ahead and increase those identifications also. Here's three of them. The Slate IP matching. So if you're using Slate and you're exchanging data back and forth with Capture, usually on a nightly basis, in addition to all the rest of the data, with the standard Slate query that we've got now, we can actually inherit the IP address for a student and attach to their name. And then once we know that, we can go ahead and match their IP address that came from Slate to the IP address that's on our record. And if it's the same, we go ahead and match that up, and that's an identified student. And now, not only do you know that they've submitted something in Slate through Slate statistics, but all of their web journey on your institutional website, which is on Capture, you now know their name, and you can see exactly all the different pages that they've gone to, and start doing email campaigns or any of those sorts of things. And the Slate IP matching, we've put that into place maybe in the last 3 weeks now. And just in the last 3 weeks, we've identified thousands of new students for our partners, to the tune of about a 30% increase in identifications as a result of this data sharing partnership that we have. So great, additional identification resource for you if you have not switched over to all those standard Slate queries and enabled IP matching. Please get in touch with us. Our data services team is ready to go, and we can go ahead and help enable that for you. The other two are Platform Q and Niche. So if your institution is using either of those, we now have partnerships with Platform Q and Niche, where they can go ahead and, as your student prospects are interacting with the Niche website, or they're interacting with the videos on the Platform Q side, all of their clickstream data and their identification data can also come back to Capture. And as soon as we get that, just like with Slate IP, now we know their name and address, or first name, last name, whatever the identification information is that we've gotten from Platform Q and Niche, and all of their institutional website journey is now available to you. These three are done, and we're actually actively working on IP matching from other CRMs. So if you're doing, for example, a nightly export from a different CRM, or if you're using Salesforce or TargetX, please get in touch with us. Again, we'd love to be able to partner with you and make that happen for folks. So here's a quick little chart. This hopefully is familiar to you. When you log into Capture, This is one of the graphs that pops up on the first screen, to just kind of show you how many identifications we've made. And now we have a yellow line that's attached to it. Um, and it totals that out, for example. So you'll notice that in this particular case, it was 225 new. That was for this one date when we first turned it on, obviously, and then on a nightly basis, the numbers are obviously smaller. When we first turned it on, we basically go back a month's worth of data. So this is probably 30 times what the usual thing is, and then of course it goes down a bit. So but overall, 30% more identifications, can't go wrong with that. So please go ahead and turn this on if you haven't yet. Any things that you wanted to add to that, Lauren?
I have a personal question that might be on some people's minds. You've mentioned,
Sure.
so Slate's turned on. TargetX and Salesforce, I know, are the next ones that we're looking to add in. Aside from having the capacity within your CRM and the data export that you're passing to capture to just add in IP address that's known to you, are there any other features within a CRM that we would need to be passing to turn on that feature for kind of our lesser used CRMs with clients?
No, I mean, obviously on a nightly basis, you already send us, here's your CRM data, first name, last name, email address, all of that. And then now you can go ahead and start sending us IP address. We would need to go ahead and change the mapping on our side, obviously, to say, hey, we're getting an additional field, and that's an IP address field, and to go ahead and turn on IP matching, from our side. But yeah, the only thing that you have to do from your data services team is to make sure that your CRM export is actually capturing their IP address, putting that into the file that you send us on a nightly basis. And then we got to do a little bit of setting on our side, but that's it.
Perfect. So anybody who's on the call who doesn't have this turned on is planning to start this process this week. We'll get your data file updated, or if you want to have a call with your account executive or your client success manager, or you want to involve our data team, we're happy to do that. Just shoot us a message in Basecamp, or you can send us an email, post it in the chat. We'll get you in touch with who you need to. We're happy to assist and get that launched for anybody who may be here who isn't turned on for just yet.
Awesome. Thank you, Lauren. Okay, number 3, targeting transfer prospects. So now, we all know, freshman pipeline and, demographically is on the decline. So for our partners, in order for you to be able to go ahead and attract more students, transfers are an obvious next segment to really target and make sure that you can go ahead and increase that pipeline. So back to the IP address. So because we know which IP address somebody is coming from, we can track that. What we've now done is we've mapped all the different IP addresses to know what the organization name is that this IP address belongs to. And furthermore, what we can allow you to do is create a market segment or a rule which says, is the name of the organization that this visitor is coming from, does that have the word college or university in it? And as soon as you create that rule, guess what? Obviously, your particular campus's IP range is not shown. So anybody who's coming from another college or university, we can immediately know that they're coming from a different college or university, and you can go ahead and pop up transfer messaging for them. So you can serve anonymous visitors, any transfer focused dynamic content, as soon as they're coming from someplace else. So that's great. You can go ahead and start getting some information from them. An even more interesting thing is, let's imagine that a student applied to you or showed some interest in you, maybe even got all the way to acceptance, but then decided to go to a different school. My own daughter actually did this. She she applied to one university, ended up going to a different one, and then a year later she thought, well, I'm not really enjoying my experience at this other university, and went back to, one of the other schools. So a person who's applied or expressed an interest or been admitted, that's just like a ripe audience. Maybe they're having second thoughts about whichever school they ended up selecting. You can go ahead and start sending them email messages as soon as they come back. As soon as they come back, you know that they've come back. You know that the student applied earlier or was accepted earlier. We were actually talking to one of our partners, and they were like, "We should just run almost a welcome back home, kind of a campaign, because this is where you really should have gone anyways, to begin with." And so I think that's a really, really cool use case of this. And then here's the kinds of tracking that you obviously always have available. So here's the market segments, and you'll see it says transfer students, anonymous visitors with IP addresses from other colleges, a behavioral element. And as soon as we went ahead and did that, you'll notice that there's a good pop, of clicks and all of that. Now the numbers here are small, but that's one, it's early stages, but two, transfer populations are usually small. And if you're getting 10, 15, 20, 50 kind of transfer students, and you can improve that by 5 or 10, well, that's a huge percentage increase. So still, I think a very, very good kind of piece of technology. As far as I know, nobody else can do something like this. Where they can go ahead and track that somebody's coming from a different college or university, and let's dynamically go ahead and pop up, something new. So hopefully all that makes sense. Lauren, anything you wanted to add to that one?
Yeah, I think just another tip that goes along with the transfer student recruitment. I know we've got a couple of pretty heavy weeks left where you can still find those transfer students before they get too embedded into summer break, and it's hard to get them nailed down as easily. One of the other things that you can do is ask your account executive to turn on a daily visitor report for you. If you've been a capture client for longer than a year, we can turn on a daily visitor report that shows you the 2021 high school grads who are back on the site. And so you can have that information coming through, just like you have the 2022s coming to you. We can set up that market for 2021s as well. So that's an easy extra piece that you can consider adding in to help out with recruitment over the next couple of weeks. And then we can look at adding in these transfer campaigns over the next several months as well.
Awesome. All right. And last but not least of the top four is counselor travel recommendations. As you sort of start planning out what it is that you're gonna create as a travel schedule for your counselors to go visit different high schools, uh, we can actually help with our predictive models and our data science technologists to say what is the best use of their time. Which high schools are you most likely to go ahead and get applicants and depositors from? And let's go ahead and focus in on those ones. So this is actually fairly easy. This interface is not actually completely finalized yet. You'll notice that because of this, lots of text and whatnot. So we'll make some changes here. But at the end of the day, what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to download who are the highest probability public high schools and private high schools that you should send your recruiters to, and then you can go ahead and plan out travel. So we figured over the summer you're probably going to be doing this kind of research before fall gets here, and we wanted to make sure that that you were ready to do that part. So this part should be forthcoming here just in the next few weeks. Anything on that, Lauren?
I love these lists for new counselors or counselors taking over a new territory. When you're thinking about territory planning and travel planning and how you're going to prioritize your fall, these lists are fantastic. It's not just here's the top schools, it's we've ranked every school in America. You got a public school list, you got a private school list. So even if you're looking to grow a territory somewhere where you've never gone to before, we're going to have those schools ranked for you within these lists, which is just a fantastic feature for you to have when you're trying to build a new area, or when you have your little baby admissions counselors in their first year and they're not quite sure what they need to be doing yet. It provides them a little bit more guidance that you don't have to have that hands-on approach for. Your account executives for sure are going to be talking and spending a lot of time going over these with you. And I encourage you to reach out to them. If you do your travel planning before July, August, and you want to get your hands on this a little sooner, make sure you just shoot them a message right now and say, hey, can we talk about this on our next call so that you can be ready and ahead of the game.
Awesome. Okay, so those are the top four that have just recently been released or are just about to be released. I want to show you kind of what's going to happen over the next year or so. But I wanted to just make sure that you knew kind of the areas that we focus in on. So you've probably heard these three words from us all the time: identify, convert, and enroll. That's kind of our mission, right? What we want to do is build the best recruitment marketing platform there is, with the sole focus of helping our partner institutions identify, convert, and enroll the right students for you. Uh, this is a new piece that I've just added here, which is accelerate. There's lots of people in your funnel. You want to be able to go ahead and get to identify them faster. You want to be able to go ahead and move them through the stages faster and kind of accelerate that whole funnel aspect. And what we want to do is provide you technology for that. And as I mentioned, all the integrations that I was talking about, much of the different reporting things that we're doing, hopefully allow you to do that. So identify, convert, enroll, focus as you already know. Accelerate is the other one. So this is a little bit of an eye chart, and I won't go through every single one, but I'll kind of talk through at a high level what each of these is. So Q1's over. We talked about all of these things in the top four. We didn't talk about the automated data validation. If you're using our aid and enroll models, oftentimes you'll send us data for each new iteration that we run for that predictive model. Used to be that we would work with our data science team, and they would hand take a look at it and then send you back any feedback if you missed a column of data or if they had questions or whatnot. We've actually made that process just completely automated. As soon as you send us a file, we run some validation checks. We're able to send an email back to you saying everything looks good. We're going to go ahead and run the iteration on schedule. Or if anything is missing, we'll send a message back and say, hey, these couple things are missing. And you can go ahead and make that change, resend us the file, and we'll be ready to go. So that's what this one is. The campaign optimization part, hopefully you have a whole managed services team, your customer success managers over here, people who are working in data science, people who are in our creative department with graphics and copy and whatnot. Every time we launch a campaign for you, it's not just a set and forget, right? We're always looking at the performance. And we're always looking at, what could we do to make the campaign perform even better? And we were doing all of those things earlier. And now what we've done is we've actually made that view public to you. So you can see, whenever you see a good campaign, you can probably click on you get one of those stars or one of those green campaigns on your dashboard. You can take a look at the campaign optimizations that your team has been doing on their behalf. Or if you see a red, performing campaign, you can always chat with your AEs and your CSMs and say, hey, go ahead and do an optimization. As soon as they do it, that optimization will be visible to you. We'll tell you whether we change the audience of that campaign, or whether we change the creative of that campaign, or or some combination thereof. Whatever it is that we change, you'll be able to see that one, and then you'll be able to see the performance increase after that. So that's a really good visibility sort of thing for you. Just make things faster, right? We want to make sure that campaigns continually get optimized. So all of these things are done. And then all of these, Q2 through Q4, these are things that are still coming. Actually, this part we just told you we've already released, and we're going to go ahead and start working through all the campaigns that you have, all the PID forms that you have, to see where some of these enhancements can be used. This part, the Google search display video YouTube ads, hopefully you're excited about it. I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. But if you're not running Google ads right now, that's obviously a great way to go ahead and drive traffic to your site. And then obviously we can take it from there to be able to drive the identifications and whatnot. So, and we want to be able to go ahead and make sure that all of your messaging, from the ads to the creative, the display, to the landing pages, to the PID forms and everything that happens on your website is all in sync. So we're very excited to be able to offer you this, and hopefully you'll be excited to start taking advantage of that. And I'll talk a little bit about what the offering actually looks like over here. If you're using, again, our Aid Enroll platform, there's been this slight inconvenience. When you click on those, you have to type in, a new set of credentials, and now you'll be able to just automated log into that one. So that piece will hopefully make life a little bit easier. Uh, we're doing new dashboards. If you've logged into your capture environment in the last little bit, you'll notice that there's a year-over-year performance dashboard, which allows you to go ahead and see, how capture inquiries are doing, or search, or your CRM pool, and how you're doing right now compared to the year before. So that part's already there. I believe this part either is already there or is about to be released, where we're actually analyzing your website and saying which ones are your top web pages, which ones are being visited the most often, and what are the tags associated with those. Are they mostly admissions? Are they mostly financial aid or scholarship or athletics or whatever the case might be? So you can go ahead and see the results of those pages, and then optimize as you need. Lauren, if you want to jump in on any of these, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just keep going.
I'm good for now. I'm going to let you keep going so you can get to those Google ads.
Sounds good. Some of this, this is a fairly small thing. We're gonna simplify the behavioral intelligence platform left menu. This is where you have the apply, enroll models, as well as the engage has lots of sub menus. So we're going to go ahead and just simplify it. You'll have all the choices still, so none of the choices are going away. We're just going to simplify that a little bit, and make it so that the left menu has one level, and then any of the secondary level things will just be tabs on the right hand side. Look a little bit different, but works exactly the same way that it always has. So we'll do that. And then later on, we're interested in releasing sort of a mobile experience. And if you're ready for that, I'd love to go ahead and have some beta customers for that. I think we'll be able to go ahead and get some things out in testing very quickly. I'm not expecting it to be final for a little while, but I'd love to be able to have beta test partners. If you're interested in that, please go ahead and type it in as a question or in the chat, and we'll get you going there. The next part is this parent marketing, phase 1 and phase 2. As you know, and I'm sure you're doing some parent marketing already, we want to be able to go ahead and help you with that part too. We want to make sure that you can have parents in the capture database, that you can go ahead and send marketing emails, for example, which say, dear parent, your student name has applied to this program. So all of those things are actually going to be possible. Again, there's going to be good integration with your CRM. So Slate, for example, again, we're already able to go ahead and get back if your record is complete. You might have parent 1, first name, last name, email address, parent 2, first name, last name, email address. We can inherit all of those and go ahead and start putting those in. So this is still under development. Phase 1, I think, will happen in this coming quarter, and then phase 2 will happen by the end of the year. By the end of the year, our forms that pop up, we'll be able to go ahead and say, are you a parent? Give us your information, tell us about your student information. We'll be able to verify that back and forth. We're talking about some business development partnerships, so we'll be able to do that. So it'll be good. And then on the predictive models on Aid and Enroll, we're working on a full aid matrix as well as a first year retention model. So you'll know more about that part. We talked about travel piece already. And then more integrations are always coming. Salesforce Target X is on top of the list. Okay, so that's kind of a quick overview of all the things that are coming. Again, I don't see any questions, so I'm gonna just go ahead and keep going. So let's talk a little bit about what all are you going to be able to do with Capture and our managed services team. So if you're doing Google Ads today, we can actually go ahead and help you do them much better, much faster. Make sure that your messages are completely aligned. If you have a Google account, we can start managing it as your agency partner and under our agency account. If you don't have a Google account, we can go ahead and set one up for you. And then we can do 3 different types of campaigns. One is search, right? So this is sometimes called pay-per-click, and whenever somebody's searching for something. My example probably is maybe not quite on point because we did the best bourbon in Louisville. But imagine that we were looking for the best university in Louisville, and some of the other advertisements are going to pop up, and you want to be up there if you're trying to service students in Louisville, and we can go ahead and help you create lots of assets to be able to go ahead and do that. We'll do the keyword research for you and create up to 20 keywords or key phrases. We'll create 2 different ad groups with 2 different audience segments. For example, you could say, I want to drive traffic for College of Business or College of Science. Those are 2 different ad groups, and different audience segments can be very targeted. So we can say, targeted with geography, targeted with certain age demographics, what their interests are. If you've already got some lists, email lists, or things like that, we can preload those and kind of match things from that. And then obviously we can go ahead and create different ad groups and different ads. Each ad within search, usually has this kind of headline, right? So that's this in the blue, and then it has a little bit of a short description, right? So we'll do as many as 15 headlines. We'll do as many as 4 descriptions. And then these are called extensions, and we can go ahead and help you figure out if those make sense for you or not. And then Google actually allows us to go ahead and say, let's test them all out and see which headline and which description, kind of put together works the best. So you really can go ahead and do some very interesting things there. So we'll be able to do search. The next one is display, just like we've been doing ads for you on Facebook or Instagram or other ad networks. Google has a big display network, and it allows us. Now we'll be able to go ahead and address that, and it'll be very similar. So we can go ahead and create 2 ad groups and 2 audience segments the same way that I talked about, and then make sure that it works on whether it's mobile or desktop or iPad sort of a device. All the different formattings. We'll be able to go ahead and help you create those pieces. And this part, I know I've heard a lot of demand for, so I want to make sure that we can do this part. YouTube ads. When both on Google and on YouTube, people are searching. They are actively looking for what it is that your best value proposition really is. On Facebook and Instagram, they're usually just scrolling, right? So we can go ahead and pop up an ad, and it can be relevant, but they weren't there to actually usually do that search for information. On both YouTube and Google, obviously they're there exactly to be able to go ahead and do that search, and that their intention is to get information about you. So, and YouTube is an amazing place for you to go ahead and serve up this kind of content and these kinds of ads. And you'll notice, there's many different places that you can run ads. You can go ahead and run an ad over here. You can go ahead and run ads over there. You can actually have the actual video to be the ad content. Obviously, we're assuming that you at your campus and your college already have a lot of video assets. So we're not going to come to your campus and create video assets. We're hoping that you'll be able to provide that to us in an editable format, but then we'll take the best parts of it and slice and dice it to be able to create the same two ad groups, up to two area segments and two video creatives per ad group. So all three of these things, I think, are really going to allow you to make a big difference in your driving traffic, uh, directed traffic, in order for you to go ahead and fill the funnel that you're trying to funnel. So, there's lots of people who are doing just brand advertising or any of that. As you know, again, Capture's in the business for being that recruiting marketing. If your marketing department is doing brand advertisements and all of that, that's perfect. We can coexist with them. We can run specific campaigns to really drive recruitment marketing for specific colleges or majors or undergraduate or whichever place you really want to focus in on. And like I said, we can coexist with the marketing team. They can keep doing what they're doing. We can really focus in on the recruitment marketing, helping you, drive that traffic and then helping you identify, convert, and enroll the right students over to you. So hopefully all of that makes sense. Lauren, I think that's the end of mine. I haven't seen any questions yet. I'm hoping that more will be coming as we end this. But anything you wanted to add or other things you want to cover?
I did just want to mention to everyone on the call, so the Google ad announcement comes at the perfect time for us, because over the next 2 months, we're going to be really digging into those plans for 2023 recruitment and how we're going to use the contract that you have with Capture and those components to recruit for 2023. So these Google ads will come up in those discussions with your account executive, and they'll be able to tell you, advise you if it fits within your current contract or if it's something that we need to talk about finding additional budget for. In a lot of cases, we will be able to fit these into our current offerings for digital. So that's a very exciting piece of it for us. Rajiv, I don't think we have any questions just yet for the group. We got a couple of things we'll follow up on individually with some of our guests today. I did have one shameless plug. If you want to, I added a slide to your PowerPoint for you. Sorry.
No problem.
We got to talk about our events because we're going on the road. We've been all over the place for the ACAC events, and we still got some more of those coming up. So just as a reminder, if you want to check and see if we're going to be at your local event, you can go to capturehighered.com/events and see where we're headed. Our big events that we have coming up, though, one of them that I'm very excited about, and you guys have all heard from me about this, is the Slate Summit. So this is the Nashville event this summer. We will actually be in Nashville on the 15th and 16th. We're going to stick around for the rest of the conference too. But on the 15th and 16th of June, we are there specifically for you all. And you'll be getting an email from myself and probably your account executive too, inviting you not just to our Capture event. We've rented out a honky tonk for the night so you guys can come out and enjoy some time with us. But we're also giving every one of our Slate clients a chance to book a 45 to an hour long time slot with your account executive, with myself, with one of our data analysts, and if needed, even a Slate specialist to come and join you to help just assess where you are with your Slate integration and the Capture partnership. And are there fields that need to be added or changed? What can we do to make that partnership even better and make sure that your data is just as clean and perfect as it can be, and make the Capture data as easy as possible for your team on campus to use. So I will be sending out those invitations for you guys to book events, or to book your meeting times on my calendar over the next couple of weeks. Be watching for those. Those are designed for your data contact, your CRM administrator to join those sessions. So it's not necessarily the normal director of admissions or vice president of enrollment management that may be coming to the Slate Summit, and we recognize that. We also know that that CRM administrator is the one who's probably setting up and maintaining the data files coming back and forth to us. So we want to spend some time with them. And we are happy to entertain the whole group and chat about how to better use the data that's coming in to your system as well. So please be on the lookout for that. We also have Innovate, which is our virtual conference. It is a fantastic opportunity for some free professional development for your team. These sessions are not focused in on specific capture products and how to use them, but broader enrollment management topics and that can make us all better throughout the year and get us re-energized and excited for the year ahead. And then the last one that's on here, obviously, NACAC. I'm sure you guys got the email that it's time to start thinking about your NACAC registration for this fall. We will be in Houston, and the day prior to NACAC starting, if you can come down a day early, we're going to do a half-day conference that is geared towards all capture clients only. So we'll have two different tracks, one for, we'll call them power users. Those would be our directors of marketing, associate directors of admissions and beyond, people who really want a good grasp of how to use the data that's coming out of the behavioral intelligence platform. We'll have a separate track for any counselors that are coming to the event so that they can learn best uses in their role too. So lots of fun and exciting things. I'm excited to go to all of these and see you all. Rajiv's going to get to tag along on some of them, I'm sure. I know he's going to be involved in Innovate. But we're really excited to get out there and get back into seeing everybody face to face. Rajiv, I think that wraps us up for the day. I don't think I'm looking through the list of questions. I think it's more stuff that we'll follow up on one-on-one with our guests from today.
That
Thank
sounds awesome.
Thank you so much for showcasing all of these cool and exciting new features to us. I'm excited, very, very excited for the Google Ads, and I think probably next to that, the travel recommendations list is probably my next favorite one that was on there today. We will be back next month. Next month is All Things Slate, so be checking your email for All Things Slate webinar for our Capture Connect in May. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.